welcome, and thank you for being here this evening. It's wonderful to have you. I know there's like a million things that can be going on in any moment in your life, and you've taken the time to be here with us tonight, and I know you're going to be happy you did, because Rahim is an amazing teacher, and for those of you who know him, I'm sure that's a big part of what brought you here to listen to this class tonight. I just want to say a word about Rahim before I turn it over to him. Rahim and I just got that text. Thank you. So Rahim, I met Rahim when I first started with the Sufi University, which was actually not the Sufi, as Energy Mastery Seminars back then, and I first started with Energy Mastery Seminars back in 1998, and I think, Rahim, if you weren't around at that date that I started, it was soon thereafter, when I started as a student. And Rahim, it was at the early of 2000, beginning of 2000, I actually went to work for the organization on the land in Pope Valley, and I went to work there as school admin. And at that time, Rahim was working as the marketing director. And he was managing as many as 50, like 50, not 15, but 50 events a year. And I don't know if any of you guys know anything about event management, but he was managing events as many as 50 a year across the entire country for all of our faculty members. All of our faculty back then were traveling all over the place doing these weekend events. Rahim was managing the logistics, the promotion teams, all of the marketing, everything for all of those events. And that is a lot of work. And it was just amazing what he pulled off during that time. I was managing the school, and he was managing all of that stuff that was supplemental to the school, and, you know, all of these events that actually introduced the work to people across the country. So he's a huge part in building this, the school that we have today, the tarika, the events that have brought people into the path and to learn about the Sufi path that we're a part of. And I tell you, Rahim was one of the most hardworking, dedicated, and sincere people that I've had the honor to work with at that time. It was a big opportunity for me to be able to work with him. And one thing about Rahim, in addition to all of that, he was extremely gifted. And I know that's only grown more and more over the years. I'll tell you just a quick story. We were at an event one time I think it was a Whole Life Expo, and Rahim had a teaching slot, a speaking slot. We had a booth. So all of us were there in the booth, and we were, passing out information, and we were giving mini healings and all of that kind of stuff. And Rahim had a speaking thing, and the booths were like in the back, way in the back of this huge auditorium. And Rahim was up on the stage, and, there was just speaker after speaker that were going on up there. When Rahim got up, and this was 13, 15 years ago, when Rahim got up to speak, his presence filled the room so strongly. You could feel your heart being pulled. You could feel the connection. And it was his speaking, his teaching, what he delivered was touching the hearts of the people all the way to the back of the corners of this auditorium, and the people were being drawn, being touched. Even the people that were, not necessarily in the audience, but the people that were working the booths. And I remember that so clearly. I don't know if you remember that at all or not, Rahim, but I remember that so clearly. And I thought, gosh, this guy is so gifted. And it's been beautiful to watch his teaching career and healing career blossom. And we're really blessed to have him at our university, at the Chatelia Sufi Center, at the Farm of Peace, as a teacher on our path. He's somebody that gives so very deeply. And today I know what he's sharing is one of his passions. He's going to be talking to us today about the secrets to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. So, Rahim, please take it away. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Ms. Tura. I've been blushing for the last 5 or 6 minutes. So anyway,
remember?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was very sweet of you. So welcome, everybody. I hope I can live up to that beautiful introduction. Master, I'm supposed to remind you to record tonight's call. Are we already recording?
Oh, thank you. Darn it. One of these days, I'm gonna put that intro back on there. All right. Thank you for saying that.
Sure. So welcome, everybody. As Master said, my name is Jeff Rahim Bronner. I live now in Pennsylvania at the Farm of Peace, where I work with Salima Adelstein, who's one of the co-presidents of the Sufi University. And what I'm going to be talking about tonight, about finding a life of fulfillment and purpose, there's so many different ways to talk about it, and there's so many different angles. So I've been sitting with it all day. What is it I really want to share with you? What are some of the jewels that I'd like you to take away from our time together? And so for those of you who are already on the Sufi path, for those of you who are brand new to our school and our teachings, I'd like to welcome you. For those of you who are on the call live or listening to it on a recording or on a website, for those of you who are in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, we're actually starting to become an international center. And I remember I did a call like this sometime last year, and we had people in Africa listening to the conference call. And it was dawning on me that the message and the strength of these teachings is starting to go around the globe. And part of the reason I think we do have a universal message is, as a group, we believe that every single human being has the right to be happy and has the right to feel a deep personal connection with God or the divine. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, rich or poor, black or white, Hindu, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist, atheist, makes absolutely no difference. Part of the teachings of unity, which is part of what Shadalita Sufism aspires to, is that it's in our divine birthright to have a connection with our Maker. And, it's very similar to being in love. No one can tell you when you're in love or not in love. You know it. Or even if you're confused, then that confusion reveals something about your state. Well, no one can tell you when you're happy and when you're feeling fulfilled and when you're feeling a deep peace in your heart. And, most often what we are aware of is the pain or what's not working, and that's not necessarily bad. That's a place to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead us through some different exercises tonight. Mastura, do we have an hour for the class tonight?
Yes, we have an hour, and if you want to take Q&A at the end, I think we set the call to go for 90 minutes if you want to do Q&A at the end.
Okay. All right, great. So I may stop at certain points and do Q&A. I may do questions at the end. If you do have questions that come up, please feel free to just write them down, and you can email them to us, or Mastura can call on you, and I'll be happy to make time for questions. But let's begin with a prayer. Okay, so everybody go ahead and close your eyes. My beloved Lord, my beloved God, I call to you now on our behalf. And Allah, I ask that you help us. Help our hearts and help our spirits. And help us always be with you, my Lord. We love you very much. So if you have a pen and paper, go ahead and get that out. And if you don't, you can just jot some of this stuff down mentally or figuratively. And what I want you to do is, this is going to be an odd place to start, but you'll see there'll be a method to my madness. I want you to go ahead and write down 2 or 3 things that are not working for you in your life. Okay, it might be the job you currently have, a relationship you're currently in, a living situation you're in. Could be a health challenge. It could be anything under the sun. Good, so go ahead and write those down. And what I'm really going to try and do is I'm going to try and personalize the call. So each and every one of you who's on the call, even if there's 500 of you, can have a real practical, nitty-gritty takeaway that you can immediately, hopefully, put into use in your life. So as a student of Sufism, we do believe in a higher power. I believe that that higher power is not punitive, knows each one of us personally, and literally wants nothing but the best for us. And that by beginning to turn our hearts and our spirits back to God and really putting our head down and praying deeply, like praying from the depth of your heart and the depth of your soul, God hears those prayers. And even if things don't change overnight, sometimes you have to pray for months and months and months. But if you are persistent in your asking and in your praying, and then you learn how to open your ears and your heart to hear God's wisdom and God's guidance, there can be solutions for every single problem that you have. Okay, so look at what you wrote down on the paper. And what if each one of these challenges was actually a doorway to something better? Okay, just like open the possibility that instead of this being a punishment or God not being happy with you, or you're just destined to live a life of unhappiness and like mediocrity, see what if, because like sometimes when I think about a law, for me a law is calling us to our higher potential. God wants us to be better. Okay, so instead of living from our ego or ourself, God is calling us to live from our heart. Or instead of living from our heart, God's actually taking us deeper to live from the beauty and the witnessing of our soul. Okay, and the places that this mainly will show up is around work, is around health, and is around relationships. Not always, but those are some of the biggies. And it took me a long time to stop blaming the universe, to stop feeling like a victim, but instead to go, okay, whatever mess is here, I'm always at the center of it. What do I really want my life to be about? And this is actually the crux of what I want to deliver to you tonight, is that life is so short and it's so precious. And if you've ever been sick or you've had someone close to you who's gotten sick and died, in those rarefied moments, you realize how short life is. And you can do anything you want with your life. Okay, the trick is you can't do everything. So, so everyone, go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And just for the next few minutes, I want you to put money challenges and work challenges, put all the obstacles, all the hurdles, just kind of let all that move to the side. And my question for you is, what is it that you really want your life to be about? Okay, what is it that really deeply matters to you? Okay, good. Let some of those deeper things that really matter, let those begin to come to your heart and to your awareness. Okay, it might be that you want your life to be about love, or you want your life to be about service, or about healing, or you'd like to be a millionaire, or you'd like to be healthy, or you'd like to be happy. It doesn't matter what the framework is. That's it. Okay, good. So take a nice deep breath. Good. Now really trust your heart. Okay, very often we get caught up in the daily hustle and bustle, and we're just so busy surviving and trying to get through the day that we don't have time to ponder deep questions like this. Okay, and that's normal. The problem is 5 years can go by in the blink of an eye. I mean, my wife and I, with our daughter, we moved to New York, upstate New York. We thought for 2 years. 8 years went by in literally snapping your fingers. And we've been here at the farm for the last year. In some ways, we've done more living in the last year than we did in those 8 years. And so the choices we make really do have an impact on our health, on our well-being, and ultimately the peace of our heart. Okay, so if you want, go ahead and jot down what are some of the deeper things that you want your life to be about. Just skip a line, write those down below. Okay, now there's actually a doorway that you can walk through. And when I teach, I tend to teach with imagery and visualization, and I tend to guide groups. It's one of the ways we learn how to move people forwards towards where their heart and souls want to be. And I remember when I met one of our faculty members, Dr. Ibrahim Jaffe, I had never heard someone speak the way he spoke. And I not only wanted to be his student, but I'm like, whatever he has, I want that. And I just thought maybe if I hang out with him, some of it will rub off on me. And so as Nastura said, when I worked for the school, as the marketing person, I spent day in and day out right next to Ibrahim and learned and absorbed every drop I could from him. And for those of you who know him, I really consider him one of the premier healers and teachers in the world, along with some of our other faculty as well. And one thing I got from Ibrahim is that when a student takes a teacher by the hand, that teacher is going to take them somewhere. And so for those of you who are just learning about us, you maybe have not met our Sufi guide city, or you're kind of just dipping your toe in the water, that these teachings, if you really want your life to change and you're open to it, I guarantee you these teachings can facilitate change for you. And it's not that we're actually doing anything. It's more like we're helping you turn towards the source that creates all change in the universe. And that change is what we call God, or in our case, Allah. By putting yourself before God by talking openly and honestly about what works and what doesn't work, and then opening and allowing the light of Allah to begin to move things, you will be shocked at how fast things can happen. I've seen people fall in love. I've seen people get fired and then get their dream job 2 weeks later. I've seen people heal from cancer. I've seen people recover from bankruptcy. Just story after story after story. And I'm certainly not promising these things, but what I am promising is that if you're open to it, if you allow this higher light to permeate through you and begin to move into your life will not stay the same. Okay, and for some of you, that might be exactly what you're looking for. For some of you, that might be terrifying and might actually be too much. So just sort of notice where you are. The good news is that with these teachings, with these spiritual practices, you really can go your own pace. You can do them 10 minutes a day. You can do them 2 hours a day. It's really up to you and how fast you want to move and how fast you want things to change. In my case, I was 27. I was living back at my mom's house. I had no money. I had no work. I was in an unhappy relationship, and my life was just not working. And kind of like I'm guiding you tonight, I really turned towards God and prayed the deepest I could for a true teacher that could take me where I thought I was wanting to go, but I really needed the person, male or female, to be sincere and to be right. And because I'd had my heart broken by an earlier spiritual teacher, and it hurts. You get with someone who takes you to the wrong place, it really can mess you up for a while. And so in this case, I was open, but I was guarded. 2 weeks later, I met Ibrahim, moved up to become his student, and in my case, Shadaliya Sufism has given me everything. I've met my beloved. I now have a beautiful 12-year-old daughter. I got a really good career as a healer and teacher. Almost every good thing in my life has come from the decision to learn more about these teachings and to let them work their magic, so to speak. So now look back at your paper, and I want you to zero in on the one thing that's really not working for you. Okay, and just sort of breathe into that situation for a moment. Okay, I believe that most of our challenges in life, most of our upset, most of our lack of fulfillment comes from not truly living the life that God has in store for you. Like if you're supposed to be an artist, all you want to do is paint or write or sing or dance, but yet when you were 5, your parents shut down your creativity and you allowed that, and you're now working at some job in a cubicle that you hate with all your passion. If you stay in that situation long enough, there's a good chance you could end up getting sick. Okay? The issue is not really the physical condition that's manifested. The issue is deep in your heart, you're not living the life you are supposed to be living. And the thing is, we know it. It's not about the money. It's not about society's approval. It's not about what people tell us. It's like deep inside our hearts and deep inside our soul. I believe that if we take the time, each one of us actually does know what we need to do in order to be happy. And the answer may not come right away, but very often it starts by knowing what we don't want to do. Okay, so over the next couple of days and weeks, I want you to really pay attention to what's working in your life and what's not working. And you don't have to have judgments about it. Just be like, you know what? This whole scenario doesn't work for me anymore. Or maybe it does work, but I need this and this and this to shift. Okay, so I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to leave your marriage. What I'm telling you is over the next week or two, just notice what makes you happy, notice what lifts you up, and notice what drags you down. If you will take the time to get really crystal clear what is right for you in this life, like if there is a higher power, and that higher power knows you and loves you and wants nothing but the best for you, what is it that God would have you do? Okay, let's all sit with that for a minute. Okay, for me, that's the golden central question. I'm going to ask it again so each of us can really sit with it. Okay, if there is a higher power, if that higher power knows you and loves you and wants nothing but the best for you, okay, what is it that Allah would have you do in this life? Okay, if you know the answer to that, write that down for yourself. That's what this school, that's what this university is about. Okay, yes, it is teaching shadowy Sufism. And you're going to learn secret healing techniques, and you're going to get incredible teachings about life and death and your soul and your soul's purpose. You're going to learn how to heal your heart and different organs in your body and special secret prayer techniques to heal people both in person and long distance. Like, the teachings are incredible. And for me, what it all centers around is building the character and helping you get strong enough to have the courage and the resolve to live the life you were meant to live. When you do that, things will start to fall into place. Okay, the certain relationships are going to fall away. Truthfully, each one of us may or may not, but most of us do have people in our life who don't really support what is best and what's the deepest in our heart. Okay, and if those relationships aren't going to fall away, maybe they'll just back away a little bit. And then the people who really do love us, who do really want us to be happy, they will come closer as we start to live the life that we're supposed to live. Okay, and believe it or not, relationships, other people's opinions, it's a biggie. Each one of us has to guard, like, once you know what your dream is, you have to guard it ferociously. Okay, don't let people send their negative vibes over your dream and begin to crush it or cause you to doubt it. You know, just because, like, many of you or some of you may know what it is you're supposed to be doing, some of you may even be doing it. That doesn't mean you're going to be happy all the time. That doesn't mean life gets easy. In some ways, like, once you upset the apple cart, life gets a little bumpy for a while. And you may not have the money right away to do what your dream is. You may not have all the support. But that actually is part of the walking. One thing I noticed early on is that when I was doing what really made me happy, and I committed to doing it every day, I didn't care if I didn't have a lot of money. It's the material world, the material possessions, the nice car, the nice house, couldn't care less. Okay, in my case, I always wanted to be a writer, and an artist, this is long before I knew about the healing work, all I ever really wanted to do was be a writer. And then when I started to paint, I just wanted to paint. As long as I got to do those two things every day, I was happy. And I built my entire life, my work schedule, my friend schedule, where I lived, everything was built around my art. And I was really, truly happy until I found Shadowly of Sufism, and it like took me the next step, and I got a chance to share like I'm sharing tonight, and like that. So Mastura, let's see if people have questions or anybody needs support at this point.
Okay, so if you have a question, if you're on the phone, press *2, and I will call on you and unmute you. If you're on the webcast, you should have an opportunity to or a place where you can plug things in. Type in a question. Let me speak more clearly. You can type in a question, and I'll watch for that to come up. Okay, we do have a hand up, and I'm going to unmute you. It says Ice Bear Enterprise.
Yes.
Hi, you have a question?
Yes. I'm still having a challenge to finding out what I really want to do. I have a background in kinesiology, Reiki, massage. I'm very intuitive with with helping people with problems, but I'm not doing any of it. I'm just doing a regular job, and I'm having a real challenge with this person, and I've been trying to change my perspective to see what she's teaching me, but I'm not happy.
And what's your first name?
Well, my name is Rahmana.
Oh, hi, Rahmana. Where do you live?
I live in Oceanside, California.
And have you, are you a student of the Sufi path? Have you begun to do spiritual healings using some of the Sufi techniques and teachings?
Yes, I have. I've used a lot of the qualities to help me, and I listen to most of the teleclasses, and I'm,
Good. How are the healing?
I really like it.
Yes. When you're actually doing a healing session with the Sufi qualities, using the name Allah, how are those sessions going?
They always go really well. I always get calmer, more peaceful. I can tell a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, so I have a couple thoughts. One is it sounds like you enjoy the healing work. The fact that you've done 3 or 4 different kinds of healing, you're a healer. And, now the trick is learning how to either earn a living as a healer or how to do it on the side so you at least have some money coming in. Not everybody wants to be a professional healer.
Right.
Some people do, some people don't. For me, I really don't have a preference one way or the other. Would you like to be doing healing like as a profession and earning your living as a spiritual healer?
Well, at this point, I would be happy just on the side because it would help me kind of balance out what I'm unhappy with right now so I can figure out what to do. I feel like I'm not doing any service. And not that I can do a lot of service because I know that I've got, well, like I said, this job has got me so unhappy. Now I've got health issues, and I know it's because it's not right for me.
Right.
But I have huge fear. And I worked on that and worked on it, and I just, looking for more assistance.
Is it okay if I offer you a couple things?
Sure.
All right. So one is, in your prayers, begin asking God for clear guidance
Right.
on whether this is the right job or whether he has something else for you. Because, and the reason I'm saying that is sometimes we can be in a job where we're not happy, but believe it or not, it is serving a purpose.
Yes, I know
In other
that.
words, right, in other words, we might be learning something that we're not aware of. Doesn't mean we're going to be in that job for the rest of our lives, but maybe the next 3 to 6 months, maybe there's some valuable lessons that Allah wants you to get.
Right.
So that's the first thing.
I was hoping that I'd already gotten those lessons, but apparently I still have more.
Isn't that how it always goes? The
Yeah.
second thing is, have you attended the university, the Sufi university?
No.
So that's something you certainly could take a look at, pray about, see if that feels right or if the door opens for that. And again, I don't have any, I happen to love the school. I've spent the last 15 years, being a part of the school. I don't really have any agenda one way or the other. What we have seen, though, is by attending the 4-year program, by really focusing on your healing skills and, letting go of a lot of old habits and really stepping into something new with your healing, it opens for a lot of people. And not just faculty. We have a number of students who earn a decent living on the side, where they're helping family and friends. A lot of people are already healthcare professionals, and they bring what they learn into their professional practice. So I would just say it might be something worth taking a deeper look at.
Okay.
In other words, to not only go to the school for your own healing, but specifically to go to really deepen your skill as a healer, so
All right.
you could have the healing practice that Allah would like to give you.
Okay.
All right, good. I hope that helps.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Anyone else with a question or needing some support?
Okay, so we have San Mateo, California, area code 650. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, you're now unmuted. You have a question?
Yes, hello, alaikum. This is Halima Nadaline from now living in Washington, Washington, which is right near Portland.
Hi, Halima.
Good to hear from you, Rahim. I really appreciate
it.
Yes. I get these ideas, and I'm all excited about them, and then I tell people, and then it kind of, I don't know if I'm just misguided or if it's not the best for me, but my latest one is to make shoes for people, or to design shoes for people who have disabilities. I've had ulcerative colitis, and it caused me to not take in enough nutrients, which caused my veins to not get enough nutrients so that the water would leak out of them, and it would cause swelling in my feet, ankles, and higher, depending on how bad it was. So I had an idea to design shoes for swelling feet, because right now I'm wanting to go to job interviews, and I just have 2 pairs of shoes with Velcro and they're sandals that work for my feet. And so I've been kind of excited about that, but then some people were excited and other people were kind of negative. And also, dwindling finances there. What's interesting is that there is a shoe design school there's only 2 shoe design schools, and there's one in Portland, which is right nearby. But I haven't been able to get myself to go to the school. So I'm like, oh, there's something going on. There's some kind of, I guess, block within myself, or maybe it's just not the right thing. I get all these ideas, and then somehow it doesn't happen, and I really haven't had any work lately, and I was really sick. I was in the hospital in May and June for ulcerative colitis for the first time, and there was 97% inflamed. So I have been working since May. Dwindling finances, I still, thank God, I have liquidity. I need a car, and I think it's my life path. I'm just I feel like
right. So here's what I would say. First of all, I would continue in your prayers and asking Allah for mercy and asking Allah for guidance.
Okay.
Right? Like we want to be steady in our prayers in good times and in hard times. Right? So in good times, we want to really thank Allah for the ease, thank Allah for His generosity. And it's almost like we're like putting pennies in a savings account. So then when the hard times come, we have something saved up and we can lean on that and rely on that. And, so an example is, a couple of years ago, I made the interesting choice of opening my own restaurant. It was really a lot of fun. I learned a lot. It only lasted a year and a half. And all of a sudden I was out of work, had lost my life savings, but I'd learned several things that are helping me now. Before I started to look for work, the first thing I did was I got my beads, I started doing my prayers, and I thanked Allah for the work that was coming. And one of the Sufi teachings is to be in expectation of Allah's generosity. And so even though I had fear, I had concern, I did tawbah into my fear, and I'll explain tawbah in a sec. But I began with saying, God, I love you, I know you see me, and I thank you for the good things that are coming. And it's like I was building a resolve. I was building a container inside myself. And that went on for 6 months, 9 months. And I was working odd jobs just to pay the bills. It was not my life's purpose. I didn't really care because the truth is I was so distraught from the restaurant fiasco that I just was happy to be putting food on the table. But I was busy in my prayers building something inside, and then the Farmer Peace called, and now I'm the executive director. And so I think there's a couple keys for you. One is, like for me, you're still finding or discovering what it really is that Allah has for you. And I promise you, He does have something for you. Okay? Could it be designing shoes? It could be. I mean, there's a lot of things that have been created and invented in this world because someone is sick or their spouse is sick. It doesn't exist, and they create something that fits a real need. So I would not discard that idea at all. I would be careful who you share the ideas with, because especially if we're a little wobbly, it just takes one negative person, and boom, we completely collapse. Can I give you an idea?
Yes.
All right. What I'd like you to do, if you haven't done it, is I would like you, or my idea is for you to start your own blog. If you go to WordPress, it's either WordPress.org or WordPress.com. It's completely free, doesn't cost you anything. I'd like you to start a blog, and you can go. A blog is like a journal.
Yeah.
And I want you to blog about all your different ideas. And you don't have to show it. You don't have to publicize it. You don't have to show it to anyone. But I'm looking for a place for you to put all your ideas, because the day may come when you go back and go, oh, that's a great idea. Well, that's a great idea. Like you need a container for all this creativity. And in the meantime, and I'll join you in this. In the meantime, I want you to really put your head down and ask Allah to help you with work and with finances. And I don't know, I do feel like something's going to open. I'm just not sure what it is yet. All right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Try the blog thing. I think it'll help.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So let's go ahead. Let's take one more, and then I'll move on with the next section of the class.
Okay. So we'll take the next one is from area code 949 in Capistrano Valley. You're unmuted.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Hi, my name is Halwa. I live in Southern California. Thank you for having this teleclass.
Yes.
My question is, I know that part of my life's purpose is to actually write and paint, so similar to you.
Yes.
But I've noticed that my writing comes about in times of turmoil and like difficulty. And so, like in that height of emotion, the kind of like the best work comes. And so I find myself like, now that I kind of declared or seen that I want to write, that I like tend to look for situations that create that. Somehow in peace and ease, I'd rather ride that wave instead of write. So I find myself like, if I choose this as part of my life's course, then I'm just going to have to constantly be faced with a lot of difficulty. And there's like a fear in that. And I'm just wondering if that's the place, like if it's in the higher to be in that place.
Right. Well, you know, there's all different kinds of ways to be an artist. And like Stephen King, who's one of our most prolific writers, you know, for the last 5 generations, he, at least for 20 years, wouldn't do therapy or personal healing work because he thought it would compromise his art. And, I mean, he sold millions and millions of books. Most of them are pretty dark, although I happen to think he's a great writer. In my case, so part of it depends on what kind of writer you want to be and whether you need to have a daily practice of writing or whether it can be sporadic.
Okay.
And for me, every artist has his or her own rhythm. In my case, when I'm working on a project, I need to get up every morning. I do my Sufi prayers for about an hour, and then I write for an hour. And then by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I'm done, and I get to live the rest of my life. And I literally don't let myself write again until the next morning, which is a trick that Hemingway used to do, because the pressure would build up. It would actually really help the impact and the immediacy of his work. Other artists are different. Other artists will write, just like you said, in times of tumult and challenge and heightened emotion, because that's what's real for them. They'll finish a piece, and then they won't write for a month or two. And in other words, they ride that ease, and so I think either way is perfectly fine. Part of it depends on the medium you're working in. You know, if you're a novelist, if you're a screenwriter, if you're a poet, if you're a blogger or an essayist, I mean, you can make money from any of those things. I mean, there's a lot of people who are making a lot of money with their online blogs. I mean, anything under the sun. You know, you happen to raise chihuahuas, and you know more about chihuahuas than anyone. So you blog about chihuahuas. I mean, you can make a lot of money from home. So one of the beauties of the Internet and the new generation we're in is this idea of having to go to a job and work 9 to 5. The world is different now. Is there a certain type of writing that you'd like to do, or a certain type of writer you'd like to be?
Yeah, so I guess naturally I think in rhymes, so I tend to go towards poetry, but yeah, like I have a kind of like short ideas. I don't like an entire book. I think personally, I'm 27, so the generation I grew up in they don't have time to read. It's more like short things that they read. So I write in the space of the amount of space you have on an Instagram, or like that kind of short writing. So I've kind of seen, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I would say is live your life let the highs and the lows, that's part of the richness of life. I would not manufacture extra emotional situations just for your art. Like I would more say live your life and create art and writing when you're inspired to do so.
Okay.
Because it's important, it really is important to have times of rest.
Mm.
It is. I mean, I spent 2 years on a writing project. I was writing a screenplay and it almost sold. I worked on it every day for 2 years. Well, when it was done, I took a good long break because I needed it. And so it's, you know, but again, there's no right or wrong. And that's part of the beauty of being an artist is you get to create your rhythm and set your course.
Mm.
Does that help?
Yeah, it's very helpful. I just had one, like, quick small question.
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed in order to, I didn't want to manufacture, like, depressing situations or kind of highs and lows, but I've noticed when I travel, because the act of traveling is so new, it automatically serves as a kind of, like it puts you into the mood of, oh, there's all these differences in ways, and it's very inspiring. So I just, in the wanting of leaving, I have that urge of leaving, and I also have the money saved to do so. I face the criticism of people being like, you know, what are you doing? You can't just go travel, or you can't just do this, you can do that, and all the voices that come with that. With something like that, I heard you answering someone else's question and telling them not to share those ideas with certain people. So would it be the same, like in the decision of leaving for a year or whatever? And if those people happen to be family, how do you, like back away from that kind of relationship?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and I think it's something that all of us can relate to. Part of being 27 is, like in New Age circles, they call it your Saturn rising.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time when you're really truly starting to become your own person. And you're going to make certain choices and put yourself on a trajectory that very well may impact the rest of your life. You know, for someone who doesn't really have artistic tendencies, believes that life is about getting a job, working that job, it doesn't matter if you're happy, like that's a whole different kind of life than I think the kind of life that you and I are talking about.
Yeah, sure.
And for me, it's not that one's better than the other. It's more like finding your rhythm, finding what's right for you, and then learning along the way.
Mm.
So in my case, I finished college. I applied to grad school because that's what, I thought I was supposed to do. I wasn't really ready to go. I ended up not going. Instead, I moved to the Midwest away from everybody that I knew, found a good therapist, and just started working on myself.
Mm.
That was really what I wanted to do. And I lived as a writer and a poet. I didn't have the internet. My car didn't work. I didn't care. I was really deeply happy because I was starting to unlock the puzzle of my heart and undo some family patterns that if I hadn't changed them, I'm not sure I'd be alive right now.
Mm.
And so following that inner guidance, I knew I needed to go somewhere by myself to figure some of this stuff out. I trusted it. I believed in it. I didn't let the negativity or the doubts of my family members stop me. And I moved with it. That really allowed me to find the healing work, and Sufism changed my life.
Mm.
So, and the only balance I would say is sometimes, like our parents, our grandparents, they can have a lot of wisdom. Like they may say, well, spend this much, but really put this much aside to have for the future. There can be a lot of wisdom in that.
Mm.
So that's what I'd say, and let's see what opens in the next half hour of the class, okay?
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, you're welcome. All right. So everybody, we're just at an hour, but I think we're going to go another 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll see if there's anything to wrap up. So everybody go inside for a sec and think about your situation. And just for the next few minutes, like really suspend any disbelief of whether God exists, of whether God is good, and of whether God knows about you personally. Okay, that was probably the biggest hurdle that I overcame when my life finally started to work, is through the Sufi practices and through the remembrance and the daily al-Wird, I started to actually believe that God not only existed, but that God knew about me and cared about me. And in that love and in that care, I started to have a resource that I could go to get my heart fed, to get my spirit fed, and to work things out. Okay, that's what I see a lot, is people get good ideas, but they don't know if it's really from Allah, and then B, even if they know that it's from Allah, they don't know how to move with it. Okay, so let's do a little exercise. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. Okay, I want you to turn towards God. You know, some of you may imagine God outside of you, like in front of you. Some of you may imagine Allah inside your heart. Either one is totally valid. Okay, if you're new to the Sufi path, if this is your first introduction to the Sufi teachings, Allah is, Allahu is the Aramaic name that Jesus used for God, and then it got shortened to Allah. So the name Allah actually predates Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, or the Islamic religion, and it's Arabic, and it literally means the one. So we believe in one God. We believe that everybody on the planet, in all the different languages, there's only one God to pray to. Like, we literally don't believe that Allah is one deity, Jesus is another deity, the Hebrews have a different deity. That is counter to the teachings of unity. And the unity teachings that Sufis believe in says, La ilaha illallah, there is no God but God. Okay, and that oneness, that beauty and that light, that is the one essential light that permeates everything in the universe. By turning your life, by turning your head and your heart towards the one, that is when miracles can start to happen for you. And I'm not promising miracles, but I sure have seen a lot of them. Okay, and the deepest miracle, I mean, when we see miraculous healing, that's one thing. But the deepest miracle can be when you start to actually live the life that you were born to live. Okay, good. So turn your head and your heart towards God. Okay, and take a nice deep breath. Okay, and what is it that Allah or God is trying to open for you at this time? Okay, what is it that would make you really happy? Or give you that deep sense of peace and fulfillment that we've been talking about? Okay, you might think it's money or financial security, and for some of you it might be. But for most of us, the abundance, the money is not for the sake of itself. It's so we can do what we really want to do. Well, what I teach people to do is flip that. Like instead of going for the money so you can be happy, figure out what it is that makes you happy and find a way to work that into your life now. So if you want to paint, if you want to write, if you want to be of service, like build your life so an hour a day, 2 hours a day, you get to do what you love. That's it. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Allah. Allah. Good. For some of you, I want you to let some of the negativity from other people, let it back up. As I look out across the country, we may have as many as 100, maybe even more people on the call tonight. A lot of you are being impacted by other people's doubt and other people's fear. Okay, like that's it. You don't have to judge them, but get a little bit, if you can, get a little bit stronger inside yourself so their energy and their whatever backs up a little bit. That's it. Allahu Akbar. It is one of the things we're going to teach you at our university. There's one of the qualities is Al-Aziz, A-Z-I-Z, and Aziz is the strength and the certainty of Allah. And so just one of the practices we do is Ya Allah Al-Aziz, Ya Allah Al-Aziz, Ya Allah Al-Aziz, Ya Allah Al-Aziz. My beloved Lord, my beloved God, please make me strong. Please align my head and my heart with you and help me to be with you and only you, my Lord. Ameen. Ameen. Allahu Akbar. Good. Good. So as for some of you, okay, as other people's doubts and fear and negative stuff backs up, like you may get a little lonely. Okay, just breathe into that. Like you may not be used to having a little bit of space around you. Okay, that space, that's what we want to ask God to fill with God's holy light. Okay, so close your eyes and just imagine a beautiful, holy, exquisite light coming around you. Okay, God is good. God is merciful. And God knows each one of us individually. That's it. Allahu Akbar. Allah. Good. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so that is just a taste of what we teach at our school, of what you can learn through the teleclasses and possibly by attending workshops or the university. For many of you, there is a local Sufi group. I want to encourage you to find them, seek them out, and go to a zikr, go do al-wird with them. These teachings have something really deeply special about them, and they're what's one of the things that's special is their universal appeal. I'm leading a class in 2 weeks in the Washington, D.C. area called Unveiling the Healer Within. So any of you who live in that area, who have friends or family in that area, it's October 9, 10, and 11. You can go to the school's website, sufiuniversity.org, to learn more about it. We have a number of resources that people can go to. Nastura, do you want to share one or two things or places where people can go?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so as Rahim said, he's got an event coming up in in Silver Spring, Maryland, right, on October the 9th, 10th, 11th.
Yep.
And, you know, if you have people who are curious or could benefit from this kind of work that Rahim teaches, as he said, it's Unveiling the Healer Within, please send them, you can send them our website information. I believe we have a link to it on the homepage of our website, or you can go to sufiuniversity.org/MarylandDC and get that information about that workshop that's coming up. If you're not in that area, or even if you are in that area, we have a number of ways for you to connect with us. We have two of our most beautiful beloveds who are available to take questions for you. We have Robert Shea, who is on the East Coast. He can be reached by phone or email. Either one works beautifully for him. His phone number is 717-552-1925. It's 717-552-1925. His email address is enrollment@sufiuniversity.org, and that's S as in Sam, U, F as in Frank, I, university.org. So that's Robert Shea, 717-552-1925, or enrollment@sufiuniversity.org. We also have Donna Cruz, who is on the West Coast, and her phone number is 512-775-7126. I'll say that more slowly, 512-775-7126. Her email is Donna Jamila CF. So it's Donna, D-O-N-N-A, Jamila, J-A, M as in Mary, I-L-A, C as in cat, F as in Frank, at gmail.com. Now, if you want to see some other free programs that we have, you can go to sufiuniversity.org/info, I-N-F-O, short for information. So those are some ways that you can connect with us. As Rahim's mentioned about our university, we have a new class that's starting in November. So of course we'd love to, if you feel at all called to this work. It's an amazing program. It's beyond amazing. It is, because it's really, I say it's beyond amazing because it's really, to experience it is beyond what you can imagine with your mind. I can say that's been the case for the entire Sufi path for me, and I think Rahim would say the same thing, and most of the people who have experienced it say the same thing. It's like if you've never, there's a saying that says, you know, if you see a jar of honey and you can say that, yes, that jar of honey, it's golden, it's thick, it's, you know, and you can tell someone that, you know, it's golden, it's thick, it's sweet, it's, you know, you can say all of this stuff about the honey, it's sticky, but until they taste the honey, they don't really know what honey is. So it's kind of like the experience, the tasting is beyond what is imaginable with your mind. So we have a number of opportunities, including this teleclass, a couple more that's coming up, Rahim's workshop. If you're on the north, in the Portland area, we have Ibrahim Jaffe, who's doing a one-day workshop this coming Saturday. And Rahim talked about Ibrahim as his teacher. He's an amazing, amazing healer also. So by all means, take advantage of that opportunity. That is also accessible from the homepage of our website. We have this carousel that scrolls different pictures through, so you can get to both of these workshops and a number of our free events from sufiuniversity.org, that homepage. So by all means, please don't be shy. Connect with us. That's what we're here for. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, the one thing, that's beautiful, Nestor. The one thing I will say to everyone, just as an ending piece for me, is if you are drawn to learn more about Shadaliya Sufism, if you enjoyed what we did on the call tonight, not everybody is drawn to this work. It's not for everybody. If you're drawn to it, that means that you have some kind of gift or intuition that's wanting to open. Trust that. We had a student in our year 1 class that just finished at the farm, and she was really on the fence of whether or not to come. And she ended up coming. She ended up loving it. And this one day she had like tears in her eyes. And I said, "What is it?" And she said, "I had no idea it was going to be so beautiful." And she said, "This is hard to put into words." I said, "I know." I said, "It's really hard to put into words." And part of the reason it is that the school creates the opportunity or the space so your gifts and your talent and your relationship with God can begin to blossom. And so it's a very individual process that each of us goes through, but yet the school has been really consistent in its goal and in its mission, which essentially is to help people know the beauty and the light of Allah and to know that in an intimate and personal way. And as you begin to know that, your whole life changes. So, Nestor, I want to thank you for hosting the call, and great to work with you again. Everybody, thank you for being on the call. I believe we recorded it, so the recording will be made available, and I look forward to seeing you at a future event.
Yes, absolutely. We did get that recorded, and thank you so much, Rahim. I want to say just one more word, because if you had a question that didn't get answered, please email enrollment@sufiuniversity.org or donnajamilacf@gmail.com, I believe is hers. So make sure that you reach out to us, and we'll help you. If one of them can't answer your questions, they'll get you to the person who can. We don't want to leave you hanging. By all means, send us your questions, and we'll get you to the right place. So thank you very much for coming this evening. And Rahim, thank you very much for this call. Look for the recording to come out tomorrow. We'll send you a link to the recording. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. God bless.